Fallout New Vegas is unique because it is one of the few video games that truly allows you to roleplay as anybody. No, seriously, you can play as a deformed gremlin named Thunder who somehow is charismatic enough to rizz up a guy who shot him in the head twice.
All right, honey baby, this is all kinds of wrong,
But to my sweet it is.
Other than that hilarious encounter, the way you build your character and what actions you take during your playthrough are really important. They have a genuine impact on the world that surrounds you and determine how the people of this world perceive you. I even find myself actually feeling good for doing good deeds and feeling terrible when I make genuinely evil decisions. And this got me thinking recently, what if I played this game as the most evil, most deplorable, most controversial person you can imagine? What if I played this game as Adolf Hitler? How would the people in the world around me react?
Son of a...
What would the endgame look like? How would I feel after it was all said and done? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas as Adolf Hitler? I wake up in Doc Mitchell's house with a massive headache and a big pain in my crotch. Doc Mitchell tells me that I passed out after being rejected from art school by a guy named Benny. Luckily, my left nut broke the fall, but it was completely obliterated. Naturally, I blame everything that isn't human for my problems, while Doc Mitchell reminds me of what I look like. Oh, Jesus, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Now that my balls are slightly healed and I'm out of bed, there are 5 rules that I have to follow, and I'm going to explain them as the video progresses. The first rule is that I must do a charisma build, but I can only use charisma to further my agenda. I'm not allowed to help others out of the kindness of my heart. Now, while Doc Mitchell does my psych evaluation, the second rule, I can only use ballistic World War II style weapons and can only wear suits or certain types of light armor with the exception of faction armors. I'll tell you more about the rules later because Doc Mitchell is kicking me out for being completely and utterly insane.
Sometimes when you give tests like this, you learn more than you was hoping for.
The first objective here was for me to find some sort of a weapon that I can use. I got rid of my starter items because most of them are useless for this run, and beeline straight to Chet. What I'm hoping is that Chet over here is going to have the Luger, because I have installed a couple of gun mods. Chet was disappointing as usual and didn't have what I wanted, so I just sold all my crap to him since I had a high barter skill, and went straight to the Prospector Saloon to drink the art school rejection away. Then I remembered that Sunny Smiles would give me a varmint rifle for free if I shot a few bottles with my shaky ass hands. I then spoke to Trudy, who was having issues with her ex-boyfriend Joe Cobb, who threatened to take over the town if she didn't tell him where her new lover, Ringo, was located. Now I can choose to help either side for personal benefits, but there's a problem, as rule number 3 is that I need to stay at negative karma at all times and end a game at the max negative karma. You see, if I help Trudy, I get positive karma, and having some positive karma isn't the problem, but I have to always remain at a net negative or 0. And considering I'm starting at 0, I can't really do anything that's going to give me good karma yet. On the other side, I could help the powder gangers, which will definitely give me negative karma, but is also an ideology issue because Adolf here would not exactly help random criminals take over a town. So I let the lovers settle their own quarrels, went back to Chet, purchased the shovel, and went to the Good Spring Cemetery to disturb the dead and grab the accurately priced 2,000 cap snow globe for Mr. House. It was finally time to go to Prim, as somebody told me that Benny went through there, and I really wanted to know why I got rejected from art school. Look at that, Rad Scorpion and Gecko fight. But as I approached Prim, I encountered my mortal enemy.
Hey, where the hell do you think you're going? Prim is off limits.
Fuck you, pal. This is where rule number 4 comes in, which is that I must side with Caesar's Legion, as it is a fascist authoritarian regime and is closest in ideology to Hitler's beliefs. Now eventually we're gonna hate the NCR and the NCR are gonna hate us, but luckily we can play the neutral card until we have to actually pick a side. I made it to Prim and was immediately welcomed by 2 homeless men with guns. One got a little too close and I kissed him on the mouth with my machete, and the other one I just shot. I entered a building and found this robot taking a nap on a counter. Apparently I could repair the robot and take him with me as a companion. Which brings me to the final rule. I can only be friendly with humans and use robots as servants. Everyone and everything else is to be used as a pawn to my plans. So back to the robot. To fix it, we need some parts, which I've been cleverly scavenging on my way here, but I still needed 2 sensor modules. There's a spot around here that has a trailer in it, which actually contains 2 sensor modules. I think it's up there. On my way up there, I got acquainted with the wildlife. Okay, alright, oh no, I might die. Okay, alright. Where are the sensor modules? There we go. On my way back, I was approached by a door-to-door salesman named Malcolm Holmes, and I of course did the reasonable thing. Okay, I know, this isn't exactly lore accurate, but this is just something you have to do in every playthrough. I used all the parts I gathered to fix the robot, and Eddie was born. Yeah. Now that we have Eddie with us, at least we'll be able to fight things without dying immediately. But I still need better guns, so I wonder if there's a trader in here. Aha, do you have anything for sale?
Well, yes and no. Problem is, I ain't going into my shop until I know it's good and safe.
Ugh, there's no way I'm helping Prim to trade with Johnson Nash of all people. Plus, this whole ordeal would put my karma in the positives, so off to Nipton I go to have my first interaction with the Legion. Oh, there's jackals here. I forgot about these guys. Go, get him, Eddie. Get him. Get his ass. Nice. I finally hit level 2, pumped all my skill points into speech, and looted the bodies for stuff to sell. I reached Nipton, but as I was about to enter, I found my first glitch of the run. What the... Why is bro hovering? Do we... Is he dead already? Hold on a minute. There we go. Then I ran into one more canon event.
Yeah! Who won the lottery?
Okay, I know killing him at this point makes no sense, but leaving him alive is bad for the soul. Ah, finally, the flag of authoritarian regime that I've been looking for. And of course, crucifixion's my favorite.
Don't worry. I won't have you lashed to a cross like the rest of these degenerates.
What this yapaholic with the funny hat is about to say is that Nipton was a town of prostitutes that the Legion decided to burn to the ground and crucify for their sins. Something that I think Adolf here would be quite fond of. I tell Volpes that I admire the purity of the Legion's justice.
It has a stark beauty, doesn't it?
Which scores me some early brownie points with the Legion. And then I agreed to go spread word of these atrocities. Hey, Killborn! Legions attacked Nipton, burned and killed everyone.
We'll never stop them. Not at this rate. We're doomed.
Holy acting, brother. I wouldn't believe this guy if he told me the earth was round. Alright, we spread the word of the Legion atrocities. We got some ammo for this varmint rifle. I wish we had a better gun to use. And by better, I meant the MP40 or a Luger. And the only confirmed locations for either of these weapons were Novac. And since the guy who rejected me from art school passed through there, that was going to be my next stop. But on my way there, I was blessed. Oh. Wait, I think that was the Luger. Was it you? Did you have the Luger? Yes, 9mm German pistol. Perfect. Oh, yeah. Now, this is German engineering at its absolute worst. Because if anyone knows anything about this gun, one of the worst pieces of German weaponry ever created. Our next order of operations is to find ourselves a suit or the MP40, whichever comes first. Because you can't take over an army without wearing a suit. Because I don't know if you know this, ladies and gentlemen, but we're not just going to join the Legion. No. We're going to take over Caesar's Legion. So far, this run has been pretty tame. I haven't committed any crimes against humanity yet, but stay tuned because that will change very, very soon, unfortunately. Especially after I get my hands on the MP40. And here we are. Novac. I beg everything in its power, I need an MP40.
Welcome to the Dino Bite gift shop.
Alright, now, please, can we have the MP40? Now that I finally had some good weapons to fight with, it was time to go looking for Benny. So I talked to this guy Manny Vargas, who claimed to have some information on the matter.
Well, listen, I can definitely help you find him, but I've got problems of my own.
Of course you do.
Novac, it's home for me now. I want that to be for good.
Manny here wants us to take a little trip up to the Repcon test site to deal with some ghouls.
Doesn't matter to me what you do. As long as the ghouls are out of there, that's good enough for me.
Oh dear, I think I know how this has to go. Alright, here comes our first real quest. Eddie, help! Help! Oh! This part was relatively easy since all I had to do was clear some feral ghouls from a courtyard, but as I entered the building, I encountered a different problem.
God, but are you ugly. Get upstairs and talk to Jason before I throw up just from looking at you.
You're not a ghoul.
Your pranks won't work on me, smooth skin.
And here comes the first moral dilemma in this run. This building is home to a bunch of non-feral ghouls. And there's a quest to get rid of them peacefully, but I can also just exterminate them. And since I would only be able to help them if absolutely necessary... Well, that was unpleasant. This was the first time I had to do something I never normally do in one of these playthroughs. And I can't lie, it didn't feel great. After all, I had just murdered a bunch of innocent people. Nonetheless, I gained negative karma and took care of the problem just enough for Manny Vargas to tell me what I needed to know. The ghouls are no longer at RepCon. You have nothing to worry about.
Really? Unbelievable, man. I knew that wasn't gonna be easy.
Bro is a little too excited. If only he knew. Now about the man I'm looking for.
The guy you're looking for, Benny, he was traveling with some members from my old gang. They were going to Boulder City.
And so I set sail for Boulder City. Now on my way there, I found not one, not two, but three traveling merchants right next to each other, all selling absolutely nothing useful. It's like having Wendy's, McDonald's, and Burger King all in the same highway rest stop, but they're all out of hamburgers. Now, Boulder City is going to be interesting because there are some great cons here that led to our art school rejection, but helping them escape the NCR would win us brownie points with the Legion. So I guess we might have to help them. So I went to the NCR lieutenant, convinced him that I was going to help myself, and paid the cons a visit.
What the hell? You're that
art student
Benny wasted back in Good Springs. You're supposed to be dead.
I convinced Jessup to let me reapply to art school in exchange for helping the cons get out of Boulder City. And even though I could have convinced the NCR to let the cons leave peacefully, I decided to take the fascist route and wage unnecessary war. This of course got me uninvited from the NCR cookout, so I decided to get myself completely banned from it for some extra negative karma by executing the NCR prisoners. Executing prisoners for the sake of bad karma really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But that's the name of the game if I'm going to get to the maximum. Because remember, I have to have maximum negative karma by the end of this run. After helping the cons, Jessup directed me to the strip where I could find Benny. I leveled up again and added my points in the speech, guns, and barter, and got the ferocious loyalty perk, which makes my companions absolute fucking units. Also, I'm officially an evil marauder, so that's good, I guess. Before waltzing into the strip and confronting Benny, I made a pit stop at the gunrunners just in case blackmail wasn't convincing enough. Yes, show me what you have for sale. There we go, that's what we need. 9mm ammo, we'll even take the hollow point. We'll take everything. Then I went to Mick and Ralph's to ask Mick for some special items. And by special, I just mean more 9mm ammo, because that's literally all I use. There we go, now that's the spirit. I stepped outside and was given a warm Freeside welcome, was harassed by the Border Patrol agent for having an ethnic last name, and was gently threatened by Victor to see Mr. House. And this presented me with two options: do the smart thing and see Mr. House before going to Benny, or just ignore Mr. House and just do things out of blind rage. Adolf is an emotional man, clearly. Would he go and kill Benny immediately? He would, but he's also very strategic, and with Mr. House being the strategical choice...
This meeting has been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Mr. House wanted me to bring him the platinum chip that Benny had, which was convenient considering I was about to go kill him. And in exchange, he would get me not only into art school, but would let me open my own art gallery in my name. I of course excitedly agreed, and went to the presidential suite to prepare, where I found the final piece of the Hitler look. Oh dear. Okay, yep, we've done it now. On my way to touch Benny, I was stopped by this loser who told me that the NCR ambassador wanted to talk to me. I was mildly confused as the NCR absolutely despised me, but this was the perfect opportunity to temporarily appease them. I met with the ambassador and he told me if I helped the NCR, then my crimes against them would be forgiven. I of course said that I would help them even though I had zero intentions of doing so, and I was off the hook for a little bit. In any case, I think it's time to deal with Benny. I entered the Tops art school and told this guy Swank that Benny had rejected me under false pretenses.
Jesus, kid, I think we got a real problem on our hands.
That's what I said. I naturally suggested punishment by death for his heinous crimes.
Jesus. Okay, well, if you think that's the best way to deal with this.
I do, Swank. I do indeed. And finally, with nobody left to stop me, I confronted Benny.
What in the goddamn?
I tried blackmailing him for the art school admission, but he rejected me once again, so I decided that it was finally time to eliminate him and go into politics instead. Nothing to see here, he's just taking a nap. Okay, finally I can drop the stupid art school bit and get down to business. I spoke with Yes Man and he basically gave me the keys to world domination.
That was probably pretty dumb, huh?
And as a pure megalomaniac, I started planning my hostile takeover of the Mojave Wasteland. I exited the Tops and the guy with the funny hat from earlier said that Caesar really wanted to see me.
My lord requires your presence at his camp at Fortification Hill.
Tell Caesar I accept his invitation. Now, we can go to House and give him the platinum chip so that we have him in our good graces, but we're gonna eventually betray him. Because, honestly, I want those Securitrons for myself, and I also want to be part of the Legion. Now, before I betray House, it's time to overcharge him for the 200-year-old snow globes at 2,000 caps a pop, and rage bait him by denying him the platinum chip.
Do you really
think I'm going to let an upstart come into my home and ransom my property to me? I spent 2 centuries searching for the platinum chip. It's my invention, my property, mine!
This never gets old. After almost developing a digital aneurysm, Mr. House forced me to watch his robots upgrade from mean to super duper mean. In any case, now that I had every single faction somewhat thinking I'm working for them, it was time for the real plan, which began with searching for the Enclave remnants and getting them to side with Caesar's Legion. And to find them, we needed to talk to our friend Arcade Gannon. But the only problem with Arcade is that he doesn't like Caesar's Legion.
If you plan to help Caesar's Legion, this is going to be a brief relationship.
But luckily for me, I'm a master manipulator, and all I really need to tell him is that things are bad and that I want to make a difference out here.
That seems appropriately resolute and yet vague.
That's exactly the point, old buddy, old pal. Now, let us get out of here. Now, we have to appease Arcade Gannon. We have to make him give us the quest to go to the Enclave remnants. And the fastest way to do this was to visit a series of locations so that he would talk to us about his past, starting with the Silver Rush.
That's a lot of energy weapons.
Fucking riveting conversation, buddy. Then I went to Camp McCarran, Repcon HQ, and this crashed vertibird with a million droids around it. Okay. In fairness, I'm not too sad about being dead. I am Adolf Hitler after all. With all of that out of the way, I finally checked my karma. Holy, we got negative 440 karma. I mean, understandable, I kind of didn't massacre the Bright followers in the NCR, but we're halfway to the goal, so I guess that's a good thing. The last place in the arcade arc is the fort, and since I already have to go talk to Caesar, this was the perfect opportunity. And on the way there, I found this guy.
Please, help me. Legion caught me. Said this was the penalty for drug runners.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
No, please!
As someone who is very against drugs and all kinds of stuff like that, I don't know. I don't think I should let you go, honestly. I also talked to this man with the funny hat and convinced him to give me ammo and supplies for killing NCR troops, which would turn out to be very useful considering the amount I was going to kill soon enough. I then entered the fort, where they took all my toys, and Arcade Gannon became increasingly suspicious.
Wait a second. What's going on?
He's suspicious, of course, that I'm going to start siding with Caesar, even though I told him that I wouldn't be siding with Caesar. So I casted Trust Me, Bro, and things were fine.
Short of canceling our imminent travel plans, that's the best thing you could have said.
Oh, and the good thing is Arcade doesn't have to know exactly what I talked to Caesar about, because he has to wait out here.
So, I finally get to meet the courier who's caused so much trouble for the new California Republic. And now you come before the mighty Kaiser. To what? Offer your services?
I could do this with terrifying presents, are you kidding me? No, I came to decorate this tent with your guts.
Praetorians, to me!
Oh my god, I got one-shotted. Anyway, Caesar wants me to destroy Mr. House's army, but I'm going to do the opposite. To appease Mr. House for 5 more seconds, and to have a backup plan in case I piss off the Legion.
Stop wasting time.
After playing hacker for a bit to disable the turrets, oh my god, that took forever. I made my way to the control room and activated the droid army from Star Wars. There we go.
Roger.
My plan was now in full effect. Mr. House thought I had activated the Securitrons for him.
Your work here is done.
And Caesar thought I had destroyed them.
I'll take that as a sign you've got the job done.
But in reality, they would both be dead really, really soon. Starting with Mr. House. I've come here to kill you, Mr. House.
Why is good help so impossible to find?
Oh god, oh god. Come on. Okay. Maybe I should have killed him before upgrading the Securitrons. Second time's a charm. I was then able to infiltrate his safe room and wake him up from his 200-year slumber.
Why have you done this? So much good done.
See, even Mr. House was happy about this with some careful manipulation of the dialogue. Ah, the power of propaganda. With Mr. House out of the picture, it was time to have Yes Man in charge of the Securitrons. But I made a critical mistake. The Legion won't fight alongside Securitrons no matter what.
If mankind's going to survive this moment in history, it needs warriors, not gadgets.
So that part of the run was completely pointless. But hey, at least Arcade finally decided to tell me about his time with the Enclave.
My late father was an officer in a group called the Enclave.
You want them to help the NCR?
I know I don't want the Legion to take Hoover Dam. So militarily, yes.
Yes, totally. We're so helping the NCR.
Great.
And so I started the quest of gathering a bunch of old people who used to be convinced they were the only pure people left on Earth. Wow, this is really starting to sound like But I ran into one potential problem. Oh no, we have to go to Jacobstown. Now you might be wondering, who is Jacob and why do I hate his town? Well, let me tell you. Jacobstown is run by super mutants. And remember, I can't actually help or fraternize with anything non-human. And they are not, I repeat, N-O-T, human. Normally I would have to eliminate them all on sight, but if I can get to the remnant without helping them, I might be able to get away with this. I kinda hate this because I'm never usually the person that goes against ghouls and super mutants, because normally they're some of the most interesting characters. Like, Raoul is my favorite character in this game and I can't even go talk to him.
I assume the only reason you'd fight past a horde of super mutants is if you heard my cry for help on the radio. But maybe you're just sightseeing.
God, I love Raoul. After climbing Mount Everest and killing some mantises, I finally made it to Jacobstown.
Welcome to Jacobstown, human. And if you're NCR, keep it to yourself. They're not popular around here.
Why do some of the mutants here dislike the NCR?
Some here still got the scars and memories. I don't really have a problem with the NCR. Legion? That's another story.
Oh, if only you knew, buddy. Again, I should technically be attacking this place on sight, but Jacobstown is strategically unimportant. It's in the middle of nowhere surrounded by mountains, so maybe leaving it alone does make strategic sense here. Luckily for me, I was able to find the remnant without fraternizing with the super mutants.
I assume this is about something important?
Arcade Gannon has asked me to gather all the former members of the Enclave in the Mojave.
Help me get my research to a stage where I can hand it over to my assistant, Calamity, and then ask me about this again.
Dr. Henry over here wanted me to help him experiment on the Nipkin to help them with their mental instability. Oh god, this is starting to sound a lot like a real-life event. Oh, I can't wait to be done with this playthrough, man.
Got a problem. Could use your help.
Haha, yeah, no, we're not helping. In any case, in order to help Dr. Henry, I went into the Night Stalker cave, made Arcade kill all of them, figured out they were chewing on the invisibility potion, and reported back. The good doctor then goes on to explain that he has to try a very dangerous experiment on a Grandma Nipkin named Lily.
Little Jimmy! My, how you're grown up!
Which, of course, Adolf here could care less about because, well, we've been over this. Unfortunately for Adolf, it didn't immediately kill her and every other mutant in the area, but it did cause a scene.
In a moment.
What the f*** is this guy doing?
Well, congratulations on getting the Mark II prototype functional, Doctor. Now, just hand it over, and we'll be on our way.
Now, even though we have a high enough speech skill to solve this peacefully, having an actual reason to take out some Nipkin is very consistent with this character's ideology. You're not getting the Mark II specs, pal.
I knew humans could never be reasonable. I'll kill you now. Ow! Oh, God.
After that clusterfuck, we were finally able to get the last remnant to side with us.
I'm intrigued, so I'll go to this reunion.
On my way to the remnant's bunker, I saw the group of NCR mercenaries harassing Jacobstown, and then I noticed this guy has a very specific coat that looks quite similar to...
What the hell?
Oh god, they do so much damage. Okay.
Over here!
I just want this guy's stuff. Yep, that's a Hitler fit if I've seen one. Finally, it was time to enter the Enclave bunker and tell the remnants about my plan that Arcade probably wasn't going to like.
So, who are we going up against?
Oh, let me tell you. Help the Legion take over the dam.
Well now, an opportunity for payback after all these years.
You got the survivors of the Enclave back together so you could convince them
to help Caesar?
Do you want to see Vegas turned into the new slave capital of the West?
In a word, yes. After successfully manipulating Arcade Gannon into directly helping the Legion, it was time to learn how to use power armor that I'm not allowed to wear. The good thing now is that even though we don't have Arcade Gannon, we have access to Volpe's Incolta because I downloaded a mod that actually allows him to basically be your companion. And we're gonna need him because, as you all know, Hitler was a weak and scrawny bastard that needs all the help he can get, so. But from here on out, this playthrough becomes a little, well, miserable. By this point, I had committed a few war crimes, manipulated a bunch of people to get what I wanted, and I wasn't about to stop. In fact, this was only the beginning. I recruited Volpe's Incolta to my inner circle, and began my quest of crippling the enemies of the Legion, starting of course with the NCR at Nelson.
Hold up there.
You got 5 seconds to get out of my sight before I shove that rifle where the sun don't shine.
Son of a bitch.
After easily taking care of them, I walked down to Nelson to talk to the Legion guy in charge.
My orders are to hold Nelson.
Now, I, as a dictator obsessed with expansion, proceeded to make fun of Dead Sea for not taking Forlorn Hope, an NCR base that was not far from here. How can I help break this stalemate?
What stalemate? It is Caesar's will that I hold this position. If you're so eager to see Camp Forlorn Hope fall, why don't you go attack it all by yourself?
Sounds like fun, I'll be right back. After being successfully rage-baited into attacking Forlorn Hope, I noticed Volpe is looking at me like I'm a tart. You're an ugly motherfucker, aren't you? Bro.
True to Caesar.
What? What are these beefcakes? This is where it starts to get interesting, because not only am I going against Caesar's will, I'm also asserting my authority by doing so. This is what we were looking for in this playthrough, the authoritarian dictator who wants it all for himself. I then marched straight into No Man's Land and up the mountain to Forlorn Hope. Oh, God. Okay. With the death of Major Prelale, Forlorn Hope was officially wiped off the map, but unfortunately right after killing him, I stumbled upon the camp's infirmary. I don't really want to show the action, but this is what it looked like after the fact. It was around this point where I started having second thoughts about this whole playthrough, because this was becoming a bit too real. Even though this is all part of a video game experiment, it's very different committing fictional war crimes as a fictional faction in a video game than to do that same thing role-playing as a real-life war criminal. I haven't considered scrapping the video, but the truth is this is why I'm making this video. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to feel wrong, which is what I'm kind of trying to highlight here. This game has the ability to make you feel wrong, and it's pretty good at doing it. Anyway, I'm going to continue making shitty jokes because that's the only way I can get myself through this playthrough. After that absolute massacre, I collected the stash that the Legion left for me for being such a good fascist, bought the entire stock of 9mm rounds in the Wasteland once again, and continued my rampage against the NCR. I got lucky in Camp Searchlight as I found the final and most powerful weapon in the Hitler arsenal. Oh, light machine gun, finally! The light machine gun is a bastardization of the MG42, another German World War II weapon, which technically allows me to use it, and that's exactly what I did at Ranger Station Echo, and pretty much every other NCR location with any military significance. I helped the Legion expand into about half of the Fallout New Vegas map, but then took a break to start making some allies to make sure I could crush the NCR in Hoover Dam. I started with the 3 families in the New Vegas Strip, and considering I had Swank in my pocket after I took out Benny, all I had to deal with were the Omertas and the White Gloves. I started with the Omertas as the woman at the front desk had loose lips.
All I can tell you is to find Caccino,
which I used to start sinking Caccino's ships.
I hear you've been asking questions about me, dickweed.
I hear you've been dealing with some business that's off limits with the family.
I don't give half a dick what you heard.
Since Caccino was pretty mean, I stole his journal and blackmailed him with it.
That book can get me killed if the wrong people see it.
I considered giving it to you for some cash up front.
Okay, you got me by the balls. Here's a couple hundred caps. Maybe that'll buy you friendship.
It absolutely didn't, as I sold the same book to the Omerta boss for another 200 caps.
Caccino, you dumb motherfucker.
This, of course, got Caccino invited to a sit-down where he was immediately killed, and I was in good graces with the family. To reward me for snitching and doing a few other tasks, the Omerta crime boss gave me 400 caps and a shunned reputation on the Strip, probably because they plan to invade the Strip when the Legion attacks the dam. The only ones left on the Strip were the White Gloves, and Caesar already wanted me to recruit them by using their biggest weakness against them: cannibalism. But as he was about to finish his sentence,
I expect that information can be used to manipulate them. Go to...
It seems like Caesar is officially a ticking time bomb, and I will soon be the leader of the Legion. Anyway, I made my way to the Ultralux so I could make friends with the People Eaters. Kaiser wishes to extend your society an offer of alliance with his Legion.
Tell your ruler we have no interest in such ties.
Since the White Glove Matriarch wasn't exactly too keen on becoming a slave, I went to the second most deplorable character in this game to ask him the same question.
I could see benefits to living under his rule. Certain
transgressions he'd be willing to overlook.
But that's neither here nor there, I'm afraid. Marjorie won't have it.
Do you have any means of changing her mind? Something I can do?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. I've been planning an exquisite society dinner, but there's a bit of a problem with the main course.
He's got a powerful and temperamental father.
Now, it's important to note that while I think Adolf would not necessarily want to side with cannibals, morals and beliefs are not of the essence while we're trying to achieve ultimate power. So helping the cannibals is going to be overlooked here. I went down to the basement to grab the Nepo baby and give him back to his daddy.
My daddy's gonna kill all you bastards once he finds out what you done to me.
I convinced the whiny bastard that the White Gloves weren't responsible, took him back to his father, and he paid me 500 caps for lying to him. Not a bad payday. I then went to find the replacement amuse-bouche, who was just casually standing outside, and I consensually placed him in a dumpster for Amazon Prime delivery to pick him up. Did you succeed in turning White Gloves back to cannibalism?
I certainly did. Philippe created an extraordinary amuse-bouche from the flesh of the late Mr. St. Clair.
Everyone at the banquet loved it.
And after lying to the White Gloves that we're going to be tolerant of their cannibalistic ways, we got exactly what we wanted.
Tell your Mr. Caesar we are with him.
For some extra amusement, I went to Yes Man and told him exactly what I've been doing. I helped the Emeritus perfect their plan to slaughter everyone on the strip.
You'd think it'd be bad for the strip, but...
I guess it must be good.
Yeah! Take the strip down a notch or two, right?
I also convinced the White Glove Society to support Caesar's Legion.
Well, that's an unusual approach, but I know it makes sense somehow if you're the one doing it.
The concern in his voice. With the strip pretty much taken care of, and by taken care of I mean it will be in complete chaos by the end of the game, it was time to go talk to the Boomers, who were the only real threat against Caesar's Legion other than the NCR. I also really wanted to convince the Boomers to release some of their real estate holdings so I can afford a f***ing house someday. But first I had to pay this guy to tell me how to cross the Boomer territory I've already crossed 1 billion times.
Well, I know the secret to get past. If you give me the caps, I'll tell you.
I've already committed multiple war crimes. I will not be paying a random guy for directions. Okay, maybe I should have paid him for the damn directions. What? Bro. After blowing up more times than the average terrorist, the super boomer told me she would leave me some cheap real estate if I helped the rest of the boomers cash their social security checks. But in all seriousness, the first boomer I encountered wanted me to fix some solar panels, which was the perfect excuse to go take over Helios 1 that was still under the occupation of the NCR. I went to Helios 1 in a disguise in order not to get shot on sight, entered the building and found this paranoid schizophrenic and rage baited him until he cried. That's right, I'm here for your job.
Ah, shit. Shit, man. I need this.
I went outside to go salvage the solar panels for the boomers, and then went on the side quest of arming Archimedes, the big fat laser that was going to take out every NCR trooper in the area. After killing more droids than Obi-Wan Kenobi, I found myself in the control room, but I couldn't fix the damn generator, because why the f*** would Hitler be able to fix a generator, the useless bastard? So I hired a robot slave to do it for me. That's a good clanker. Anyway, I had the keys to the castle, armed the sun laser, and went outside to the sky deck to watch it make beef Wellington out of the NCR. Well, that had the effect we needed it to.
The perfect object lesson.
What a creepy bastard. Even though the laser did most of the work, I still had a few loose ends inside the building to take care of. Great, more innocent civilian deaths. After gaining a few extra war crimes in NCR territory, it was finally time to go back to the boomers, give them their sunbeam powers, scrap metal that was asked for me by this guy, and then I listened to this little f*** tell me the entire history of the world.
Ages ago, long before I was born, we lived underground. Everyone had guns, but the owners that you listen to...
After nearly exterminating the child, I finally got enough clout to get my cheap real estate. But she said there was one more thing I needed to do if I wanted that crispy 0% interest rate. So I went back to this guy and he told me that they were planning the next 9/11 and sent me to retrieve a sunken plane from Lake Mead. The things I'm doing to start the Fourth Reich here. On my way to the plane, World War IV happened as I was attacked by every single enemy on the planet. Oh god. Oh, is that the NCR? Duh, Cazadors. Seriously, if you've ever had a death wish, just go towards Bitter Springs. Speaking of which, I took care of the remaining NCR in Bitter Springs, took their rations for some extra bad karma, and dove straight into Lake Mead to inflate the airplane. And after all of that, I finally secured my 0% interest rate home in Good Spring. Oh, f***. But in all seriousness, the boomers were finally satisfied, and they agreed to help in the fight of Hoover Dam.
After all that you have done for us, we would love to help you in the upcoming battle.
They even swagged me up in boomer gear. Wow. This is quite the look. Back at the fort, I informed Caesar about the White Gloves and the Boomers, gained some juicy negative karma, and he ordered me to go destroy the Brotherhood of Steel before once again...
It's not a full-strength chapter, mind you. The profligates... Oh,
has an orgasm? Wait, that can't be right. After Caesar's mild stroke, I was also about to have a mild stroke with the amount of times I had to spam this guy with dog tags to get grenades. Anyway, to Hidden Valley I went, and was immediately accosted by these pure-blooded Americans who didn't like that I was trespassing on their property.
Listen very closely and do as I say. Your life depends on it.
They then told me to strip down naked and sent me straight to Jeffrey Epstein, who ordered me to go deal with an FBI agent.
I'll be interested to see how thoroughly and efficiently you carry out your mission.
I of course agreed because I had an explosive collar stuck to my neck, and because we all know the FBI has been looking for me in South America since 1945. Jeffrey wasn't too happy I killed him because it would eventually lead to a bigger investigation about his crimes.
If you end up betraying us, we will know it.
How interesting of you to say. I then immediately started the betrayal arc by robbing the keys for the self-destruction sequence of the bunker. How about... Whoops. I tried to sneakily make my escape. Failed a couple of times, but eventually made it out alive.
Arrives with us.
Eliminating the Brotherhood did wonders for my negative karma score. Oh, wow. Okay, we're at negative 800 karma. Oh, they're still alive. How is this guy still alive? And also please Caesar so much that he wants to touch me in his tent.
All right, let's state the obvious. There's something wrong with me.
Oh yeah, we already knew that one, buddy.
The headache started a couple of months ago. So what's the diagnosis?
Finally, it was time to fix Caesar's headaches, for which of course we must perform brain surgery and intentionally botch it so I can take over the Legion. Whoops. At this stage, I am one of the worst people in New Vegas. I have betrayed everyone who didn't fit in with my agenda. I have created alliances with the worst of the worst in the Mojave, and have slaughtered every NCR base I've come across. Now only 2 NCR camps in the dam itself stood in my way of total domination of New Vegas, but not for long, as Camp Golf was my next target. So many, oh my god. It took a few tries and some drugs, but eventually Camp Golf was taken down. I rewarded myself by raiding Camp Golf's fridge, reward myself with negative karma I mean, for a grand total of negative 935 karma. Understandably, the NCR were pretty pissed at me and started sending death squads after me, which I promptly eliminated. To get back at them for the audacity of attacking me, I offered this random man in the desert a cookie if he showed me how to assassinate President Kimball of the NCR. He said that he would be arriving at the Hoover Dam tomorrow for the perfect opportunity to get assassinated. So I put on my Sunday's best and marched straight into Hoover Dam to give the president a proper welcome. At the dam I saw this howitzer that seemed to be controlled by this control panel over here, but I was too stupid to figure out how to work it, so I read one of the Smarty Pants magazines and rigged it to mow down the president. And with that out of the way, it was time for Camp McCarran to fall. And by eliminating that final outpost, and taking a few more things from the NCR, I had finally reached the goal of maximum negative karma. With the NCR now at its knees, I just had to tie up some loose ends. Starting with the Great Khans, who admittedly forgot that I was already allied with by default because of the Legion. One thing I didn't know, however, is that they have an armory, which I now had access to because I helped Jessup.
Since you've done so much for the Great Khans, Papa Khan told me to let you know you can buy weapons at our armory.
I walked into this armory that I had never seen before in any other playthrough and was absolutely astonished. You have 450 MG rounds? 630 5.56? Almost 2,000 9mm? Okay, I guess I never have to buy ammo ever again. I was almost not gonna come here. And after all of that, it was finally time to take the dam.
Legatus, a stranger arrives. One who bears the mark.
I met with the legate, who ordered me to kill the general of the NCR, and the fight for the dam began. This was an absolute bloodbath. The Enclave were on my side.
We're here as promised.
The boomers were on my side. And so were the Great Khans.
Our warriors are here to assist you.
It was total domination. This was it. The final stand. The general of the NCR right in front of my face. Wait. You know what? No. I'm not doing this. I started this playthrough as an experiment. An experiment to see how role-playing as someone I considered the worst person to ever live would affect me. And of course I expected to feel bad and wrong, but I didn't expect to feel mentally drained. I've done evil playthroughs before, and of course those evil playthroughs were less rewarding than the good ones, but this was just on a whole different level. And I tried to combat that with some dark humor, but it didn't change the fact that this absolutely sucked. There were multiple times during the recordings where I just took breaks because I was fatigued from role-playing as this man. Oh my god, what the fuck is the point? It became such a chore that I wanted to scrap the video multiple times. But I think that's the point of all of this. Fallout New Vegas gives you the option to be the villain in unforgiving ways, but it won't reward you for it. You're supposed to feel bad for killing innocent people. You're supposed to feel wrong for taking advantage of them. You're supposed to want to be better. So could I beat Fallout New Vegas as Adolf Hitler? Sure, I could. But I don't think I will. Just because you can do something, it doesn't mean that you should. Anyway, time for Adolf to die.